Today, we are very excited to talk with you about hosting your possible wedding at a private villa and what that looks like pragmatically and aesthetically.
If you crave luxury but need guidance, then stay tuned for magic. Welcome to Wedding Tips and Tales with T.S. Wed, the podcast where we unveil the secrets to crafting the perfect luxury wedding. Join us for expert advice and insider tips that will make your special day unforgettable. Let's make your wedding dreams come true together.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on Wedding Tips and Tales with T.S. Wed. My name is Taryn.
And I'm Dani.
And we are the dynamic duo that make up Taryn Stark Wyant Event Planning and Design. Before we start that, Danielle, what are you drinking today?
It's a Gewürztraminer. Have you ever had one?
They're German, of course. My last name is Stark Wyant.
Gewürztraminer is like one of the only whites I like, so it is my go-to. What about you?
Oh, that's fantastic. Remember when we were in Germany and you had a Gewürztraminer in Germany?
That's great.
It was a moment for me. I felt really good about it.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Sauv Blanc, and the fact of the matter is I don't typically like Sauv Blanc. However, it is currently 102 degrees outside.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh. So,
cheers.
Cheers to the light whites. Okay, so this week, Danielle and I had the opportunity to speak with a very, very sweet, lovely bride who had originally started planning her wedding locally and for a very large number of people and got overwhelmed quickly because she was trying to do the planning on her own while also juggling a full-time PhD student lifestyle and decided with her fabulous fiance that she wanted to pivot to a small European experience for just their closest family members and friends. And that is how she got connected with us. And she very sweetly was inquiring and going, is it possible? Like, we all want to stay at the same villa together and really have it be this incredible experience for the whole group for the entire 5 days. Is it possible to do the wedding there? And we didn't realize that this wasn't known. And so we are so excited to tell all of our newly engaged couples that when it comes to hosting your wedding at a villa, at a private villa, not only is this done, but it is so wise to do. And we want to tell you why.
Yeah, and when we're saying villas too, there's obviously stateside villas that you can do this at. Now, you do have to be aware of certain rules and certain laws. So for instance, in Hawaii, you can't, or in Maui specifically, you can't have a place that's an Airbnb and an event space. So in Maui, this is not something you can do. Other states might have different rules. It is a very specific like Airbnb, VRBO law, and something that's come up like in the recent past just because of how prevalent these have become. But especially we're discussing in Europe because, as you know, if you've listened to any of our podcasts before, your money can just go so much further in Europe than it can in most of the stateside locations that are really popular for this. And so this couple specifically was looking at Italy and Spain, and we've actually done one just like this, just outside Barcelona.
Yeah, so we had an incredible opportunity a few years back to host an intimate gathering at the Villa Valentina, which is just outside of Barcelona in Spain, and it was unparalleled. This was the first time we had done this, done a private villa as a wedding venue. And there are a few things to keep in mind when you're looking at private villas for a wedding venue. And the first and most important one is, what is your guest count? Because if you are choosing to host 10 family members and friends in your villa, you can basically pick any villa that you want to host the event at because you have such an intimate gathering, right? So you don't need a great big lawn space. You don't need easy kitchen access. Like, maybe you even host the dinner inside the villa because the table can fit 10 people. And so that's very easy to accommodate with a private chef. But if, like our couple from Barcelona, you want to have like 25 to 30 people at your wedding and maybe just you and your family members stay at the villa, you really have to be intentional, or make sure that your planner is being intentional or your travel planner is being intentional about the property itself and the property's capacities. And by that I mean, is the kitchen equipped to accommodate meal service for a group of that size? Or do you need to bring in extra equipment for that?
Well, but like the lawn space or the grounds around the property might be expansive, and you might go, oh my gosh, we could have our wedding for 100 people here. This lawn is ginormous. And yet, do the restroom facilities at that Airbnb, which are just going to be home bathrooms, can that actually accommodate 100 guests using the bathroom in a short amount of time, right? That's like that sort of sewage problem is not a problem you want to have at your wedding day.
No, absolutely not. That would be awful. But yeah, so there are logistical things too, like what you just said, like the fact, okay, great, we have a huge expansive lawn. Is it level or is it hilly? Does it all slope downward? Because you can't put chairs on that and you certainly can't put tables on that. And so you really do have to work with your professionals to make sure that they are really asking those nitty-gritty questions and working really closely with the property manager to see not only if it is legal to host an event there, which that is, of course, number one, you need to make sure like, hi, is this allowed at the property? Because if it's not, and you are like, oh, don't worry, we'll just, ask forgiveness instead of permission. How awful would it be if halfway through your event, the property manager marches up and says, you didn't clear this with me, everybody get off. That would be awful.
Cutting the power, everything done. Another thing too is that often these places will have whether it's like a contract that you're signing with them or just if it's through Airbnb, like there are steps they can take post events if you did not use their property correctly, right? So if it's not allowed to have an event, they can charge you after the fact for breaking that rule. So it is really important, outside of having like 5 people inside for dinner, any sort of event bigger than that, it has to be allowed and okay on that property. And that can be that it's legal, meaning like there's laws in place in that certain county or state or country, but also that that property allows them. Because even if it's legal, let's say in all of Italy it's legal, that one property might have had a bad experience and they don't allow weddings. And so it's really nuanced when you're looking at that. And that's why obviously it helps to have us or have a wedding planner or have a travel planner who understands that like not every venue, even if it's legal across the board, is going to be a venue that wants to host weddings and wedding parties. And so making sure that you're not just like Googling, oh my God, this venue is perfect. This house is beautiful. We want to stay there. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. But as long as you have someone asking those questions, then it can be pretty smooth sailing from there.
Absolutely. And then, once you get over the hurdle of is this legal, is this allowed on the property, et cetera, and you do, find that out, checking out those logistical things, checking out the power requirements. Is it a septic system that you can't have more than 5 people using the bathroom in one day? Great. Do you need to bring in porta potties? Great. What is the transportation like? How are you going to shuttle 35 or 100 guests onto the property for those that aren't staying there? Like looking at those logistics will matter tremendously when you're booking a private villa. Like it just will. And so if you're going, oh my gosh, this is so pretty, I'm going to book it on my own, I don't need a planner or a travel planner, that's great. You're going to come up against a lot of hurdles that are maybe insurmountable that could really negatively impact your experience. And so we definitely recommend working with an experienced professional when you're considering doing something like this. However, if and when you do choose to work with experienced professionals and you do book something like this, there are so many benefits to doing this.
Great. Yeah.
It's so great. It's so fantastic. I mean, I can't recommend it more highly if you do it the right way. What do you think are some of your top like pros to doing this, Dani?
I think your guest count needs to remain intimate. So even if not everybody's staying at the venue, this route is not the route for a 100-person wedding. This route, I want to say like 50 or less is the route I would go. So if it's a more intimate, because you are at somebody's home. And so it's going to have, even if it's a beautiful home, it's going to have a more home feel to it, which I love. And it feels very connecting and intentional. But that kind of goes away when you have a ton of people there, right? So I would say, first off, that guest count should be like 10 to 50.
Yeah, I agree. And I think part of the magic of doing that too, if you have an even more intimate group than 50, like let's say you have 30 people or fewer. If you have 30 people or fewer, chances are we're going to be able to find you a private villa that can actually house that many people. And it doesn't have to break the bank, especially if you're looking in Europe. And so if you're able to actually house, like let's say like this couple that we're talking to is looking at 15 guests. Great. There are like seemingly endless options for hosting 15 guests at a private villa in Europe. And then what you are gifting to your guests and the atmosphere that you're curating throughout the entire week is so incredible. It is adult summer camp to the nines. Like there's so much connectivity and intentional conversation and intentional moments that can be curated when you do something like this, that it really does feel like summer camp, where when everybody leaves, you are bonded with people for life. Like you have a new best friend, like how everybody has their camp best friends. You're like, oh my gosh, like her mother-in-law is now my new best friend. I love her so much. Like you're really making special and deep connections and relationships by doing something like that. And you can do so in a way that doesn't feel uncomfortable, because a lot of people get nervous, like, but wait, we're shoving people into a house. And what if they don't know? What if they feel awkward? Like, am I allowed to go in the living room while he's reading? I don't want to be disruptive of him reading. And so maybe I should just go sequester myself in my room. We would recommend, in order to make that more comfortable and intentional, hosting a full week of quote unquote events. But the events don't have to be like the super formal, wedding ceremony and dinner reception. What are some of the pre-events or post-events that we've done?
Gosh, for the one in Spain, we had everyone go to a restaurant that the couple loved in Spain. There was transportation. It was like a private dinner or like a private space in the restaurant. And so we did dinner there one time. We've done catamaran sails. So if we're anywhere near the water where you can do something like that, that can be really simple. And it doesn't have to be a whole buyout of a boat in addition to everything else. That can just be, we bought 20 tickets for the catamaran that goes out, right? And so that can be wildly cost effective. We've done movie nights, we've done brunch. It's
Pool
so,
days.
yeah, pool days. It's so easy because you can hire an in-house chef to come in and make breakfast for everybody. And
Mhm.
so like again, how amazing to have that experience. There's not many of us that have had a private chef making us anything ever. And so imagine that experience of like, yeah, every morning there's a private chef who comes in and makes breakfast. And especially when you have, and we had this in Kauai one time, when you have a chef that is there every day of, let's say, a 5-day long week, they get to know everybody that is dining there and they get to know their tastes and their preferences. And so you might start with a really amazing meal on the first day because the chef is going to be amazing. But then by the last day, it's even more curated to you guys and who your guests are and what everybody's tastes are. And that's just so fun. It's so cool and so fun. And nobody wants to cook on vacation. They want to just eat and enjoy.
Exactly. And like these like quote unquote events, I keep saying quote unquote because it's like a pool day. It doesn't have to be a formal event. It can
Right.
just be, we curated the same matching towels for everybody, and there's a limoncello station, and later on there's going to be a gelato station. Please come on out whenever you feel like it. And
Right.
all of a sudden you've invited everybody to this experience that's the venue's already paid for. You've just got gelato and limoncello coming, and you paid for some really cute Amazon towels. And all of a sudden, it feels like this super intentional, like exclusive invitation for everybody that just is going to open up the opportunity, especially in advance of the wedding day itself, for people to connect authentically, for people to feel invited, for people to feel comfortable. And then they get to dig back inside. If grandma's like, thanks, this is
Right.
great, but it's hot, I'm going to go take a nap. That's great. Like
Great.
there's that
Amazing.
freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, what's nice, because you're saying like we can add all these events and you can do all these different things. When you're at a hotel, each and every one of those is an extra cost, right?
Mhm.
Because each and every one is a venue site rental. Once you have this villa, it's yours. So if you want to have one event or you want to have 10, that cost is not changing insofar as the site rental, right? So you're just going to get a lot more bang for your buck. And like Taryn said, everyone can feel really comfortable in being able to come in and out and do what they want. And if they need to get changed, they can run inside and get changed. Or if they need a nap, they can go and take a nap. Like it just is such a comfortable experience that, it's just lovely. I want
It
to be a
is.
guest.
It's lovely. I do too. That'd be amazing. I'll also say, I'll speak to one other thing pragmatically from the industry professional side. When we have events at private villas where they have rented the space for more than a day, it gives us so much more creative freedom and liberty in terms of the scope of your event and what we are able to achieve. It's tremendous. And by that, I mean, we get preset days that are essentially free to us.
Right.
And so that means we can have stuff shipped to the venue. We can have vendors like prep things on site in advance, maybe in the back garage or, whatever it is, so that we're able to execute a much more intentional event when we have that time and space than we would be at a venue. Now, some venues we will book depending on the couple's vision and vibe. Like we will book a preset day or two or six, depending on what their vision is. And that's just gonna, quadruple the price of your site rental fee, what you're
Right.
paying that site rental fee. At a venue, you don't have to do that. Like you were saying, Dani, like at a villa, you're already gonna have those like preset days, quote unquote. They're already booked. They're a part of what you've paid for the accommodation itself. And therefore, it's just opening up a huge cabinet full of happiness for all of your vendors because
Right.
they get to really bring the magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just love it. I think it's a great option. Again, I think if the guest count is right, I think it's just such a great experience that you are gifting to your closest friends and family that, again, with the right person leading the way, it's kind of a no-brainer. I
It
really
is.
love
It's a no-brainer to me too. I love
it.
it. For the right guest count and the right, vision and aesthetic, like do it.
Do it.
100%. Highly
Do.
recommend.
Highly, highly recommend.
Awesome, you guys. Well, I hope that was helpful. If you are interested in a private villa experience, feel free to link below or pop us a message below and go, oh my gosh, we love villas in Barcelona. And we will hook you up with some recommendations. Happy to do that. We work with an amazing travel planner, Britta Heath. And so we can absolutely get you connected and moving in the right direction. So hopefully we will hear from you soon.
Yay!
Yay! Cheers, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your questions below for future podcast topics. Subscribe, like, and let us know your favorite tip from this video. Until next time, let's keep making wedding dreams come true together. Bye for now.